Hello, welcome to the AquaStax Hour with me, Long Steve, on a Thursday afternoon. Blimey, the year's going quick already, isn't it? Can't believe we've had almost 2 weeks of 2017 already. So, as usual, rush to start today, doing some real paying work. Quickly get set up, and I think I'm here. I haven't actually started my bot Tim yet. Let's just do that. He should pop up. Might even announce me on the stream, on the chat. There he is. Welcome to me. Right. Let's get going with Slick Edit. And gulp task to start the project being served up. And then also, let's just double click on a couple of these warning messages from JS Hint. I should get into the habit of keeping check of those. We've got axis and slope collision are not defined because they're externals at the moment. There's not equally, I should definitely be one of those. Self is defined but never used. We can ignore that. One of those and one of those. Right. Then we bring up Chrome. Touchpad Chrome. And with any luck, wait for the project to load. There it is. So, I was relatively successful at the end of my last stream on Tuesday evening to get my collision testing routines migrated across from my past self from 10 years ago. Let's just check that live streaming is working. Yep, got my Elves window there. For some reason, I couldn't get a window on my router this afternoon. No, not that one. I want the. I like to watch my router and check that the bandwidth I'm using for outbound streaming is something reasonable. You know, it should be streaming at however many kilobits a second it is. But for some reason, my router with its real-time bandwidth monitor page isn't responding. Gonna have to reboot it. It's a really good router actually. It's an Asus RT68U, I think, which is like a super high-end consumer model, and it almost never needs rebooting. But every now and again it does. So I'm gonna just leave that sitting there for now. Hope that the stream is working okay. I'm sure anybody can tell me when it's not. Okay, so so at the end of last stream, I had migrated a bunch of code from my old AquaStax game into my new JavaScript codebase, and it was hanging off of collide objects. So collide objects, we had the standard square collision, which is pretty straightforward. It's just a bounding box test on the square. And then we had various triangle collision types. And I had figured out that at some point in the past... Oh, hi Sargin, good to see you. Anyway, I was just explaining to nobody, because there was nobody else in the stream. You're the first viewer. I was just talking about my collision testing routines that I actually managed to get working at the end of my last stream on Tuesday evening. Basically, I migrated the code from my old game, from my past self 10 years ago, and put it pretty much straight in. All it needed was a few syntax tweaks, like int being changed to var, and it worked. And I was basically being lazy. I was going to just leave it at that. I don't really think I want to delve too deeply into figuring out how it works at the moment, at least not on stream, because I'll just be staring at code for an hour and I won't be able to figure it out. I know it uses the separating access theorem with some dot products to determine which side of a line the various points are on, and it uses that to then determine if you're inside or outside of a triangle and hence collision. About all I did was where my old code was actually copying and pasting, and two functions were identical to each other. I had collide square with triangle and collide triangle with square. Oh, hi Dzen, good to see you. I actually worked out that they were identical to each other, and now I only need, where are we? I just need collide square with triangle twice, but we pass the different moving object or square object, moving object in the grid is different parameters. And then there's collide triangle with triangle. and they work. So I've got a colliding a triangle with a square, and whenever a collision occurs, the highlight changes. There's just a draw node sitting on top that gets enabled whenever a collision is occurring. And actually, I think I enable two different types of collision. So my code detects what I called an axis collision. So it's basically a horizontal or vertical axis colliding like that. And then there's a slope collision. So if one of the collision points is within the slope of a triangle, it changes to a different color. It still reports collision, but it's a different value for that collision. And that's useful for knowing when something should slide off something else. In the event that a block falls onto a slope, it needs to slide off. And let's just rotate this. Yes, so the various rotations all work. This I left with triangle square, but I think I did triangle triangle at some point. Let's just go and check that out. I've got the block in the middle, the test tile for collision testing. Actually, I can use game. The block that it starts with somewhere here is defined here, I think, as a 3 and an 8. 3 is the fixed block. If I put that as 7, it should give me the my old 2 pointy block. So is that going to work? Yes, it's actually colliding at the moment, as long as I'm moving around on the screen a single celled block, it will collide with whatever's in the grid. So if I move it like that, you can see the collisions don't occur now until they actually touch, and then there's a slope collision. Slope collision there, and the same if I can rotate that, it moves down and works very nicely. So my catchphrase seems to be, I'll refactor that later. I should get a t-shirt printed with that on, and then talk about refactoring. So I thought I might do a bit of that today. I might also first just carry on a little bit with the this collision testing. What I want to be able to do is to test any arbitrary shaped block against any arbitrary shaped blocks or triangles within the grid. At the moment, it only works when I have one block, and something went wrong at the end of last stream when I had a bigger block that was moving around. So I'm going to see if I can fix that now. So block 8 is my temporary one, or tile 8, and I suppose I could just use something like tile 6. So let's see, tile 0 is probably a good one to do with. So now I'm moving this around. Yeah, it looks like the collision testing points are a bit out. They're not working right for some reason. And if I move that around, it's not colliding. So I don't know why that is. In fact, it doesn't collide at any point anywhere, which is rather freaky. Right, so let's look into what I was doing there. So what is it calling collide objects then? Oh, it's collide, not collide block, collide objects. So it must be using it in here somewhere. There we go, right. So this is the loop. And what does it do? So this is just using my condition that allows me to do some testing. And I get the position of the moving object and the data. Get object data. That's just the tile data. So whether it's like a 1 or a 3 or a 4 or a 0. Grid indexes. Get grid index positions for block collision. Self.block. So that's where the hi fiance 911. Good to see you. That get position and get rotation. So those grid indexes should be what's being highlighted in good to hear. I'm just trying to figure out why my collision testing isn't testing against the correct blocks. It works if I test it, if I'm moving around a block that's only one cell in size. If I can find that bit of code. There it is. So if I use my test block number 8 and move it around, then you can see the collision testing works if I move the moving block over the static block. I can rotate that. But if my moving block is bigger than a single cell, if I pick my 0, 1, it doesn't work. And the highlighted blocks in the background here are where it should be doing collision testing for, and it's obviously not working right at the moment. No, that's not working. They look, those cells are almost covering the block. Actually, they would work in that scenario, although it looks like in some places it won't. Yeah, that's not the right way of doing it. Right, so that particular highlight, where does that come from? So I'm pretty sure that grid collision squares, that's the thing that Hi Sergeant, good to see you. I'm doing pretty well today. I say I got my collision testing working at the end of last stream, and now I'm just trying to figure out, or just trying to expand on it hopefully. So grid collision squares. So what does this do? Collide block with grid data. Oh, cool. Yep, that was basically the biggest use of Java, I think, in the end. All the mobile phones back in the day. Sun had this grand plan when they released Java of it being on set-top boxes and DVD players. I think actually Blu-ray players might have Java in them. Some of the Blu-ray spec included Java. And Java became pretty popular programming on desktops as well, but certainly in terms of actual raw number of people that used Java code, mobile phones is definitely where it was. Just like JavaScript now. If you think of the number of people that use JavaScript on a daily basis, even if they don't know it, they're just browsing websites, it's phenomenal. So I was trying to figure out my collision squares. So these basically come out of get grid index positions for block collision, don't they? I wonder if I can, I might do something like print those out. Get grid index positions for block collision. Position and rotation. So I do some funny stuff here. Add 1 to the width to cover the block overlapping cells horizontally. Do I even need to do that? Maybe if I don't do that, let's just see what happens. Yeah, I do. That works okay if it's only 1. Grid DX. What am I doing here? Grid size. It should still be covering 2 by 2 at this point, though, shouldn't it? I wonder if I need to change this, because this is working out the position. Well, it's that, isn't it? That's got to be grid DX. And I expect that has to be 2. That's a bit more like it. Still not quite perfect. Should probably, yeah, should be testing that top left one as well, shouldn't it? Select grid size. No, that's not doing it. So I need this bottom left. I definitely need the grid bottom left. Oh, I see Cocos2d-JS, good to see it. I need this bottom left position. And I need the number of cells covered by the moving object. So let's go back to what I used to have. Grid size, and grid size. And this works as long as the block is only jumping from one cell to another. Let's see, and I could do that by just switching back to my non-test mode. Yeah, so this is when I wrote the code, and those highlighted blocks are the right ones for collision testing against, which is good. But it's the horizontal testing that doesn't want to work, or the working out of the blocks in a horizontal fashion. I can make some nice patterns here. Anyway, I'm getting carried away playing the game. So I put this back in. So that's working, but as soon as it shifts off to the left, it needs to add 1 to the blocks that it horizontally checks, which is definitely the X. So I did this if grid pos.x, which is the position of the block, is not directly a multiple of the block size, so when it's overlapping, it should add 1. So what do I need? And then we use grid delta x. We've got x plus grid size minus y times grid dx. It's not self.blocks wide, is it? It's... oh no, that's the grid index. See? Maybe I should see what this bit of code is doing and loop over it. So where are we? We're in grid.js. I'm trying to be too clever by using single-dimensional arrays for all of these particular bits of data. I don't know what line I'm on. The the line number is hidden behind the chat window. There we are. Line number 220, 212. Right. So we're definitely overlapping multiple lines there. Actually, let's do there first. So grid size is 2. Yeah, it's 2 by 2. grid pause block. I mean, that's going to be an odd number. So grid dx plus equals 1. So it's going to be 3, isn't it? Interesting. Doesn't need to be 3, it only needs to be 2. I wonder if it's some... okay, yes. It's the next bit of code, I've just realised, I think. It's this bit here. If the block cell is 0, right. I see. That was what was causing it to not do that second additional row on the right-hand side. So that leads me to think I probably don't need that at all. Let's go back to grid size here. If I just ignore that particular test for a moment, that's more like it. That's the extent of the grid cells that are being covered by my block as it moves around, isn't it? So collision testing is still not working, but that's the next bit to look at. Let's try this with different sized moving blocks. So let's go back to the small one. In fact, I might as well go through them a couple at a time. So yeah, we're moving down. See, that's missed off the one on the right though, hasn't it, there? So how do I figure that out? I could do something that works out the extents of the block within its defined grid. That's a pain in the behind. That does actually, because I'm defining these tiles in a 2x2 celled area, but it's only taken up 1/2 of it. So I kind of want the extent, the width, and the height, don't I? Did I write a function for determining that? I did get tile bounds. Yeah. Get the left bound and the right bound. So that actually worked it out, didn't it? I wonder if I can use that. So hi, I didn't get a chance to read your name when it popped up there. Oh, and it disappeared already. Never mind. So tile num, and what are we passing in to get tile bounds? The rotation. So tile bounds, and that comes back as an object. So it's going to be tile bounds left and right and bottom. It's not, we don't care about the bottom too much, but left and right is very useful. So let's do something like, let's do var tile cells wide equal tile bounds dot, that's going to be tile bounds dot right minus tile bounds dot left. Is that how I figured it out in the end? Works out the number of grid cells from the bottom left that are empty. Okay, tile bound, so that's tile cells wide. And now what we really want is grid dx equals tile cells wide plus 1. Back to grid dx again. block cell, that's going to be grid size, and that's going to be grid dx. Is it? Not sure yet. I think it was that, wasn't it? So tiles wide is 2, so we want to go for 3 in terms of the coordinates. That looks reasonable. Definitely covering them as I move them around. When it rotates, it's all good. So let's go back to the one that's awkward. Yeah, it's still working. So my hope there is that tile bounds is returning, or tile, whatever I decided to call it, tile cells wide is going to be 1 in this case. Oh, hi Andre VDB, good to see you. Let's see if that rotates. Yeah, that's better. So we do get an extra row on the bottom at this point, but that should be rejected for collision testing. Doesn't matter. It's a little bit of over collision test. Do I really want to do that? See, that was that particular command there was rejecting it, wasn't it? I'm thinking about being a perfectionist. I'm tempted to adjust my get tile bound so it returns the top and the bottom boundary, and then I can actually work out the exact height of a particular tile. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I didn't do it before because I don't need the top boundary because tiles are only ever colliding when they fall downwards. Now, of course, I'm moving my tile around arbitrarily here. I'm going to leave that for a moment. As long as the tile never goes outside the boundaries of the grid squares that the collision testing is going to use, then that's fine for now. So let's jump back and try a couple of other ones. 0, 1. Yeah, we did that one. 2. Yeah, this one's... So it looks better with a full 2x2 tile. 7, that's the slightly awkward one again, isn't it? Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting. Rotation. And it's gone wrong. Drat. So why has that's giving me 2. Ah, that one's okay, because the rotation has moved it into the right-hand quadrant. Oh, this is very, very annoying. I'm going to have to maybe rethink some of this. It's getting very complicated to just figure out where on the grid this block is, or what cells the moving block is overlapping. Every particular thing I do causes something to break or subtly change it. In fact, yeah, the rotations occur differently. I think it's because the rotation around this one is okay. Oh no, that still breaks it as well. Actually, yeah, so I should fix it. So let's just... So we have tile cells wide is 1 at this point. So we're still working on the 2, but I actually want to start my left hand. Ooh, hi, ID. I'm just going to call it that because the the numbers too big to read out. Oh, and Mitsurugi as well. Good to see you. So I need to figure out the. I need to start on the boundary when going through the grid cells. So get grid index positions for block collision. When I figure this out, I need to work on whether or not I could do it one cell at a time. There's another way of doing it, isn't there? There's for every occupied cell in the moving block. So for in this case, we're going to have like 1 and 2. I could determine directly which cells it overlaps, and sort of just basically sum them all up. And there's going to be duplicates in there, but then I could deduplicate an array of indexes at the end of that. That would give me a nice clean way of determining which grid cells are overlapped. That's a possibility. Or I can just try fixing this bit of code. So let's go in. So let's determine the boundaries here. And I'm going to add top boundary to it as well. That way I can use it in all scenarios. So left, right, bottom, and top. TB equals 99. I'm not sure why I didn't bother with the condition around this one. I seem to remember in a previous stream having some issues with this particular collision, this condition. So if BB equals 99, we'll do that. Determine the right or lower bound. Determine the top or upper bound. So grid pause. This is working from the, so that's working from the bottom upwards, isn't it? And when it hits one that's not 0, it flags it. And then we want to work from the top down. So grid size, so that's the top. So if we work from, so that's the bottom. We want grid size plus X, yeah. I think we just want Y, don't we? I'm just kind of guessing that that might be right. How do I test this function out very well? Get tile bounds. I can do that in here, can't I? So when I do it here, I need to know what the boundaries are going to be. So let's go and debug that here. So we've got tile bounds, and that's going to be bottom and top 0, 0, left 0, and right 1. Okay, that seems to be okay. If if I rotate it, and jump in here again, we've got tile bounds as bottom 1, top 0. Okay, so it's, I think, because it's rotated, it's 1 off the bottom. Right of 2, that's interesting. Let's try the important one. It's that way. So what I've got now, I've got tile bounds. I've definitely got right 2, left 1, and top and bottom 0, 0. Okay. I'm trying to remember what this means. I think it means the distance from the left, from that particular boundary. So it's 0 from the bottom, 0 from the top, 1 in from the left, but for some reason it's not 2 in from the right, is it? It's going to be 0 from the right. That's an unusual number. I'm not going to change that though. It's only the bottom and top I'm caring about at the moment. If I rotate it again, we've got tile bounds left and right 0 and 2, bottom 0, top 1. No, maybe it's not. No, it should be, as I worked it out, it should be filled with the number of grid cells from the bottom left that are empty of filled triangles. Yeah. So I kind of need top right as well. So, what do I want to do? The one that doesn't work is that one, isn't it? So when it gets to there, we have left 1, right 2. What matters is the fact that it's left is 1 in this instance. So what I should really do is just add, it's going to be a bit hacky, but if I add an extra one to grid dx in this instance, plus tile bounds dot left, that might give me what I want. Yeah. See, what it's doing is now it knows that there's nothing on the left. It adds an extra one to it. Because when there's nothing on the left, tile bounds becomes 1. Or tile bounds dot left becomes 1. So that's, yeah, that's looking reasonable. A bit of a cheap fix that, but I'll take it if it works. Let's go back to number 1, number 2. Yep. Tile bounds is going to be 0 on all these ones because they completely fill their 2x2 cell or 2x2 tile. All right, yep, that's definitely covering all the appropriate cells. Number 3. This is where I should write some unit tests to do this. My next t-shirt, so after I've made a t-shirt that says I'll refactor that later, I'll make another t-shirt that says and write the unit tests, or maybe that can go on the back. Yeah, programming t-shirts. Oh, I can make a fortune if I started selling those. Oh, hi, he's on 58, good to see it. Yeah, okay, looking like we've got at least via the convoluted method, it's working out some, working out the tiles now. Right, 6. And 7. So this one wasn't working either, was it? So we do that. Rotate ever so slightly on the boundaries there, but it doesn't matter. Now it's overlapping. It's correctly working out the overlap tiles. And I'm going to tweak this. So number 8 is my single triangle. Let's build a larger tile that's bigger than 2 by 2 just to see what happens. I did this before to test out some things. I should be able to make an arbitrary sized tile. So tile 8, we're going to have a tile grid size of 3. I think I made a little house last time, didn't I? And it's going to be, I mean, I can just do sort of a square block for a minute. Let's do a 31. If I did that, that'll be a great big block, won't it? There we go. But it looks like it's worked out the correct cells that it overlaps as I'm moving it around, which is good. Now, if I take off the right-hand edge, I wonder what it'll do. So let's make these 0. Okay, no, that's still working good. What about rotations? Okay. What about the bottom edge? Oh, actually, take off the left-hand edge as well. So we've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 31, 0, 0, 0, 0, 31, 0, 0. Okay. All right, that's still working. Good. So, as I said before, there is redundancy in some of the collision testing rectangles. It doesn't need to bother with those, doesn't need to bother with those in this instance, but I'm going to leave those for now. Right. Let's put one in the corner, see what happens. There's lots of redundancy, but it's still definitely covered. Good. Right, I'm going to live with that. Now let's see what happens. Or let's see why I can't collide against the block in the grid. Actually, top row, I can do a 4 and a 1, and myself a little house. 0, 4, 0, 1. There we go. Right. So definitely no collisions occurring. Let's go back to the grid and see what's going on then. Was it collide object? No. Here we are. Right. So this is my bit of code that's being called in my test, and it's doing this. I get grid index positions for block collision, and then it's looping over all of those, and it's doing a collision test against the, okay, so where are we? Get grid position for index. So it's testing it over, grid indexes, we're only testing moving obj, pos x and y. I see, right. It's, yeah, I think I see. It's doing something funny. It's, oh, hi, Ranwer, good to see you. It's only testing moving obj by getting one position. So actually it's not looping over all of the cells here, is it? What I need to do is loop over all of the cells within the object, get their grid index positions for block collision, and then yes, what I've done, yeah, so what I've done is I've actually worked out my collision testing routine works on a single tiny cell, doesn't it? And I need to extrapolate that so that it works on all of the cells within a tile or a block that I'm moving around. So, but my get grid index positions for block collision works on a whole block, doesn't it? That's interesting. I actually only want that to work on one small cell at a time, anyway. Why is I not finding it? Oh, it's in grid, isn't it? There it is. So, get grid index for point. What does it use block for? It only uses block for that particular... All it does is it gets the tile number. Yeah. So, oh no, then it works out the different things, doesn't it? Yeah. Block cell grid index. Okay. What's block cell? Block cell is the index within the grid, isn't it? Yeah. Right. So what we're doing is we're looping over the cells in the block. It does store those. It remembers each one. Because I need to adjust moving obj and the position here based on which block within the cell in the moving block it's using to test with. But all that sounds very complicated. I think I need to go back to doing what I thought I should do in the first place, which is to loop over the block at the higher level and just test each individual cell within it against the grid. Trying to figure out do the whole block is just adding so much complication. What time is it? 10 to 4. Well, I'm not going to get that done in 10 minutes. So let's think about how I can start doing that, and then I'll expand on it later. See this grid index positions for block collision. So that's getting me all of those. Basically, that function is what's returning all of these red highlighted cells within the grid as I move the block around. So what I could do is get all of the... If I get the tile, so I've got the block anyway, haven't I? I could loop over each individual block cell position within that block. So that'll be looping over these, won't it? Do I have a function that gets me those? Check for cell, get tile bounds, create tile, limit rotation. This is the draw node. So it's kind of doing a bit like this, isn't it? Let's see. What I kind of want to do is do something that I'm doing something similar as what I'm doing with the grid, but for an individual block. That's interesting. That kind of makes me think there's a whole set of functions that I could do that are just operating on a grid. And if that grid is the entire game grid or a small individual block, it shouldn't make any difference. The functions are going to be the same. That's another one for the... I'll refactor that later, I think. So Got a few loops here. Get index positions for block collision. I mean, it's essentially doing this, isn't it? Why don't I add in a tile method which will loop over the tile and return me all of the cells within it that are useful in some situation, like this collision testing. So let's see, check for triangle overlap, get tile bounds. Let's do a I don't know, return a list of tile cells with position offsets. Let's see, return a list of non-empty tile cells with position offsets for, I don't know, doesn't matter what it's for at the moment. And we want to do something like AQ dot get, it's going to be a block, isn't it? But get tile cells, actually a list of tile cells. What I might do, I'll get tile cells, and we've got, don't need the position, don't care about that. We need the rotation, but I suppose I could call it N, yeah, N rotation and include empty. So I'm going to add an extra parameter to include the whether or not empty cells are included. And we don't need that. Basically, we're going to borrow a bit of code up here. Grid size. I don't need any of this, do I? This is all rather complex. So it's tile grid data rotation, isn't it? Yeah. So what we do is we pinch this. Actually, we want include empty or does not equal 0. Cell list. What do I call it before? Here, I've used block cell and grid index, but if I use do I want just X and Y, or do I want something like offset X, offset Y? Position offsets, I'll just do X and Y for now. Right, so that's going to get me the, basically just it's a silly way of doing it. It's just an iterator, isn't it? It's just iterating over the the actual individual cells within each tile or block. But let's see what it does. aq.get cell tiles. So we can use that somewhere to, so that's my grid indexes. If I do something like this, if I do and get rotation, moving up cells. Okay. Then if we loop over that, loop over each of those items, we got the we know the position, don't we? We've got to keep the position. We want to loop over I equals 0, I is less than moving up cells. And we want to get the grid indexes for, I'm going to make a slightly different function. Let's see, that's using grid, isn't it? I want get grid indexes. I got grid indexes for a point, haven't I? Yeah. I want get grid index for get grid position. Oh, it's nice. Just listening to the rain outside here at the moment. It's getting pretty heavy. As long as it's still rain and not snow, I don't mind. I'm not a big fan of snow, and we're predicted to get some snow in the UK today, or maybe tonight, I think. Luckily, I'm pretty far south in the country, and we rarely get snow down here. In fact, in Southampton, where I am, we're sheltered by the Isle of Wight and the river, and it's, you know, even when the rest of the rest of the country can be covered in snow, we'll have nothing here. But occasionally it does. And I get grid index for point. No, I don't want that, do I? I want also got a nice typo there, I've noticed as well. Postions. Is that why I've not been able to find my thing sometimes? Yeah, it is. I'm going to fix that now. POS positions, isn't it? Positions, that's better. Ooh. Hi, Everon CII, Everenchi, I don't know how you pronounce your name. Oh, Black and Whale as well, someone else has joined. And Marcelloas, good to see you all. Right, don't forget, if you follow me, you'll get your name up in lights. Fireworks go off. Oh, actually, also, speaking of lights, I've been playing around with some additional lighting effects that I might put into practice on my live stream at some point. Let me just reach over here and plug in my strip of LED lights. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. Yeah, it's a bit white actually. Oh, there we go. They're white LED lights. Sorry, RGBW LED lights. Don't know if you can see on the camera there. If I stick one in front of my face. There they go. So hopefully they'll cycle different colours. Yeah, got green there now. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's a strip of 60 lights. I'm going to stick it somewhere. I was thinking I'm going to put it around my head, or make a hat with it. So if I make a hat, and then something in the chat window or something will cause these lights to go and flash, possibly when I'm followed or when something interesting happens. I'll leave those going there. I've got them hooked up to an Arduino at the moment, which isn't hooked up to my PC in any way, but we'll sort something out for that coming up soon. Right. Oh, ratings as well. Yeah, anybody wants to rate me? Tim's help has gone off the screen. How many lines of code do we have at the moment? 1736, right. So I want to loop over these moving these objects. I'll loop over the cells of the moving block, and I want to get the grid index positions for each one as I do that. And the position is actually going to be, so moving object pos is going to be pos moving pos. Actually, I'm going to need var. Actually, so cell equals moving object cells I. That's going to be cell dot x times hopefully somewhere we have block size. There's a must have block size somewhere. I think I cheated a while back, didn't I? Block size. There we go. Well, I can do aq.com for block size. So this I want cell.tile cell. That'll do. Ooh, somebody joined and I didn't see. Then went cell.tile cell, and we don't care about the rotation, do we, in this instance? Oh, hi, best to hang. Good to see you. Oh, gone past the hour now, so I'm into overtime. But I'm just playing around with my collisions, seeing what I can get. I want to either get grid index positions for block collision. I don't want that. I just want get grid index. Don't even need the cell, do I, at the moment? I just need get grid index positions for point, which I think, but it's not a point. It's for get grid index positions for cell. How's that going to work? So this is my get grid index positions for block collision. What I'm thinking of doing is slightly refactoring this function so it doesn't take a block and a position and a rotation, but it can just take a position and a tile number and a rotation, can't it? Then, so get grid index positions for block. So get grid index positions for tile and rotation. I mean, these are pretty verbose, but I'm only going to use them a couple of times. So we've got tile num and rot, and So we've got tile num. Basically, it's all of this, isn't it? Except X and Y, bottom left. Let's just move this down to here. We need a position, don't we? Tile num rot pos. So, given that, I can cheat, get grid index positions for tile and rotation. So, get grid index positions for tile and rotation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use tile number, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use the small square one, which is tile number 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. And the position, as a rotation, doesn't matter, 0. And the position is the pos there. So each time through this, I should get back 4 positions. And then that'll give me grid indexes. And then I can test. So I'm going to need a bunch of interesting things, aren't I? Going to have to work out the cell pos, yeah. So inside here, collision. I'm going to stick this in here. Yep, we can't use that. INJ. Oh, I hate INJ. I'm going to change that to T. So we've got a moving object. It actually now cell. What do I get in terms of cell? That's get tile cells. It's tile cell, isn't it? Actually, var cell obj equals cell dot tile cell, and they're down here cell dot x. Yeah, okay. So in here we can have cell obj cell pos dot x, cell pos dot y, and then with grid block obj. Where did that come from? It's here, isn't it? Okay, no, position. Yep. Right. Let's see what's broken here. Lots of things, no doubt. aq.init tile data. Oh, unexpected token colon. Okay, 283 tile.js. That was just my Okay. Right. Self is not a grid. Get grid index positions for block collision is not a function. Where's that used then? Collide block data with grid in grid.js. Did I change its name? Get grid index positions for block collision, that's where it should be. I did a typo as well. I did the same thing as I just fixed. Ooh, come back. Now this is terrible. I'm going to cheat by making my old function no, it was because of the typo, wasn't it? That was why it was going wrong. Silly me. Right. Okay. Get grid in. Rot pos is not defined. Where's that? Rot underscore pos. Oh, there we go. This is rot pos. Aha! Right, so we're moving around. Okay, now it looks like something is actually happening. And my little collision detection is working, because that little indicator in the bottom left doesn't show you where the collision is, it just shows you that a collision has occurred. Hey, it looks like it might be doing it. Oh, it's not working there, never mind. It's a shame. It's working in some places though. It's definitely working. Slope collision there, slope collision there, axis collision, axis collision. Yeah, it's all colliding. Why didn't it work when I did that? That's a bit awkward. Oh, it's doing something. It's got the wrong collision type there going on. Yeah, it's definitely got the wrong collision type somewhere. Possibly. That's close though, it's getting somewhere. I'm now actually getting some collision occurring, which is good. Could leave that bit for the next time, so I need to make a note of this so I don't forget next time I start the stream, which is going to be on Tuesday evening, so next Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock UK time. I will be figuring out why that bit of collision isn't quite working. It's probably due to... am I faking it? I know what I'm doing. I'm faking the test, aren't I? It's actually testing it with a... See, this is what I did here. Right? It's testing it with a cell that's... Oh no, that should be 0 at that point, actually. Oh no, that's just getting the grid indexes. It's testing the collide objects. Cell obj. In this case, cell object should be 0. So it's going to just avoid that. It's colliding there while it's overlapping the collision test. So it's overlapping that area incorrectly. I wonder, I'm just going to quickly tweak this so that it gives me a nice small number 4 triangle. I'm going to leave this in here because it's useful. And I'm going to pinch it. Let's pinch this one. There we go. So that's not colliding, but that is. So that bit works. and it's definitely overlapping the test region, but it's not actually colliding at that point, it's testing it there. So if I switch that to using, I don't know, number 1, 0. Slope collision. Oh, yeah, see that thinks it's colliding when it's not. That one's definitely not. That one's not. Subtle. Definitely something subtle going on there. I'm not going to be able to figure that out anytime soon, and I've had an hour and a quarter now, almost an hour and 20 minutes. Excellent. Definitely getting somewhere. Quite enjoying what I'm doing, even if I'm staring at the screen in silence sometimes, and thanks very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Glad to chat with a couple of you today, and do follow me. If you fancy giving me a rating, I might give myself a rating of about 60 today, because it's not been fantastic, but it's been pretty good. I've definitely got my collision testing working slightly more than it was. Iteration is the name of the game. It didn't work there though, did it? Oh, now it's working down there. There's probably an off by 1 error somewhere. My guess is it's testing. So in this instance, it's actually testing that square part of the block against that, and so there it triggers a axis collision. So if I do that, it's moving up, and it triggers it there, doesn't it? As it goes in, as that goes into that cell below. I wonder if it's doing it there. Yeah, it does it there as well, doesn't it? Okay. Something subtly missing there. Maybe it's duplicating things over. Maybe there's duplicate collision testing going on. We'll see. Next time. We shall look it up next time. Right, so as I said, Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Luckily I work from home, so if we are snowed in, then I'll still be here. Maybe very hungry, although there's a shop not far from me around the corner. Thanks again for watching, and I shall catch you next time. Cheerio, everybody.